How's it going, guys? My name is David, and I'm your coach of the FC Popplio. We have Week 9 against Monotui and the Tampa Bay Luxrays. This is kind of late, because I've been away all weekend, so bear with me. It's... sorry. But anyway, like I said, we're playing Mono this week. I'm going to pop up the teams right above my head. There you go. And Mono is a really cool dude. Sorry, I got a text message. He's a really cool dude. I really like his videos. More so by his playstyle than like his building or his prep or anything like that, or his drafting. But I think his playstyle in matches is really interesting, and he's one of the main people I like watching in terms of draft league content. So be sure to check him out, sub to him, like his videos, comment, all that fun stuff. You could do the same for this video if you want, but more importantly, go check out Mono. He's in the GBA and the PPL, which are two other pretty cool leagues. But yeah, we're in a kind of a rough spot at 2-6 -10. We're definitely at the bottom of the conference, and I'm sure by now you've watched Mono's side, but it's kind of rough. Our matchup isn't bad, and this week we decided to get some help. I believe we contacted Zazo because Zazo helping Merc helped him win, so I was like, well, I want wins too. So I talked to Zazo about building, and this is sort of what we collectively came up. He didn't give me spreads or anything like that, or he was just like, these are the 6 mons I would bring, and I'm like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So, up first is Taunt, Calm Mind, Keldeo with Dual Stab. I debated sub, but stuff like Toxapex was really annoying, as well as T-Spikes. So, like, I couldn't really sub up if he got a T-Spike up. I guess I should go over sort of big threats on his team. Lop is a huge threat. Scyther is a pretty big threat. I'm expecting Banded or maybe a really bulky set with, like, SD or just a defensive defog set, which is probably like his best form of hazard control against me. Manectric I don't expect because it's shit. Mimikyu I'm expecting with a Z move. Gliscor I don't expect, although it can be okay. What's that under him? Kyurem I kind of expect. Like, I don't see it coming, but it certainly can with like a Specs or a Scarf set to sort of catch my Garchomp off. Sandslash I don't expect unless he really wants to play the hazard stack game and he wants to win it. T-Tar is okay. He's probably going to bring it to not lose to Mono Psychic Mew, so I do have to bring coverage. Up next is, I forget what, Toxapex, if I'm not mistaken. Toxapex I can see coming. It's actually the biggest threat to my team. It's his best rain check, aside, like, between it and Ferrothorn. It's a very powerful rain check. T-Spikes absolutely destroy my team, so I was 100% expecting that. And it could run P-Jab to break Keldeo subs. It doesn't need a lot of bulk to wall Keldeo or any of my special attackers. It could be Spadef or Torn. It could be a lot of things. And it's just like the most impossible thing to switch into, to like deal with. Reuniclus is always a threat. I expected Trick Room, maybe Life Orb set. Calm Mind or physically defensive was also likely. Ferrothorn was super annoying, and it was his best pert check. So yeah, that's everything I kind of expected. I have a ton of threats against him. It's just the fact of picking the right ones. I expected a lot of things like Toxapex and T-Tar, as well as maybe Scyther and Lopunny, as well as a max speed Mimikyu. So, like, if I had to guess, that would be, like, the main thing, and then, like, Ferrothorn, Toxapex, or Reuniclus instead of T-Tar, or instead of Scyther. So that was what I was going into, and because of that, I didn't really like Houndoom's matchup, because Houndoom couldn't touch the Toxapex. That was the main issue that I was having with it, or else Houndoom would have came. Spoiler, it doesn't come. But this Keldeo set is really cool. It stops Toxapex from doing things, and I can Calm Mind on it. And after +1, I kind of murder everything on his team that isn't named Lopunny or Toxapex. So that's fun. it's also really nice against Reuniclus because it could 2-hit KO at +1. So up next is Mew. Expert Belt, max attack, max speed, enough speed for Mimikyu. Drain Punch, Leech Life is for T-Tar and Reuniclus respectively. Zen Headbutt for General Stab. And a +2 Expert Belt Zen Headbutt kills a Toxapex. So that's fun. Up next is Fizdef Rock Swampert. I didn't really need anything else of the sort. It was just really nice. It takes 2 adamant high jump kicks, which is really cool. So it's a pretty solid Lop check, and the speed there is, so then under Rain I outspeed a Jelly Lopunny, I believe. Or no, it might be outspeeding an adamant Lop. Up next is Life Orb Torn, Tailwind Knockoff Hurricane Superpower, just general stuff. He has no real flying resist aside from T-Tar, and therefore the superpower's there. Up next is a Yachi Berry Garchomp with SD3 attacks. Just max speed, just general stuff. Nothing's fancy. Yachi Berry to then live a hit from Lop. And last but not least is a Scarf Pelican with Defog, U-turn, dual stab. It is Scarfed to outspeed a Lopunny creeping a Torn Eye, which is the fastest thing I can have on my team because Lop can naturally outspeed Pelican if I'm max speed Scarf, so I have no reason to be max speed. And so I have no reason to try and be max speed or anything. And I have no real reason to bring any of that stuff, like Scarf Decidueye, Scarf Pelican. They don't really do a whole lot, but I really felt like I needed Defog because T-Spikes 6-0'd me. Like, just T-Spikes plus Ferrothorn, just like, I lost. I didn't know what to do. So, I needed Defog. And the bulk investment bluffs that I'm max HP on my Pelican, so I could bluff that I'm not Scarf just based on the damage I'm taking. Like, I could be like a Spadef one to sort of deal with things like Kyurem and or Reuniclus to an extent, because Pelican does become a fairly good switch into both of those. So yeah, that's the team. We're just gonna jump into the match, hide the team list, hide the builder, and here we are. As you can see, there's no Toxapex, so I was going into this kind of okay, a little excited. I did see a game plan. I saw, alright, so if I can get rocks up, then Torn and Garchomp and Keldeo all put in a ton of work. I'm expecting the Lop to be slower than my Pelican because it was in every single test game I had. Yeah, so we're just going to go right into it. He's going to lead T-Tar as I lead Tornadus, and here I'm like, alright, there's no way he'd lead T-Tar unless he was A, Scarf, or B, Choppleberry, because, I mean, why would he lead a Mon that loses to 6 out of 6 of my Pokemon? So that was my thought process there. So I hard switch out into my Pert as he Ancient Powers, and I'm like, alright, is he Scarfed Ancient Power? That's like interesting. I just set up rocks because I knew something was coming in as he goes into a Scyther, and that's kind of annoying. I Waterfall, it does 34, and I see that he's max HP. I decide to set up my rocks again, I believe. Yeah, because I want to force him to defog because I knew a Roost was coming based on that. So I hard switch out into my Torn as he U-turns, and I'm like, alright, cool. Scyther's taking 50 as it comes in. He goes into the Lopunny, and I'm like, alright, I need to switch into this. I'm going to go hard Pelican, and Lop's going to go for a Fake Out. I double out into my Swampert because if he expects me to be Scarf, he hard switches. If he doesn't, then he stays in and does whatever. So, as you can see, he stays in and he goes for a Baton Pass. And he goes out into the Ferrothorn. I'm just going to Superpower to pop the Choppleberry because I know there's a Choppleberry and I know that Pert isn't really here for damage. So I can pop the Chopple, go to let my Keldeo and my Mew and my Torn kill this Ferrothorn the next time it comes in. And that's sort of my main important thing. Also, to note, much like the Merc game, we had to redo this this game against Mono, because the turn Lopunny came in, he realized that Lopunny had 0 EVs in anything. So me being the kind-hearted person I am in last place, I offered to restart the game and not have it continue with no EVs. So yeah, just as a side note, hopefully it doesn't bite us in the ass like the Mark game. I just hard into my Garchomp because I didn't really know what I wanted to switch into. I'm just going to SD, expecting a Protect or a Leech Seed, as he decides to just Power Whip my face. And I'm just going to go for an Earthquake, kill this thing. I didn't want to risk anything else. He goes into Lop, and that's really annoying. I'm just going to let my Chompers die. And here I'm just going to hard Mew, bluff that I'm defensive and can take this, and that I can go for a Psychic. But instead he goes for Scyther as I Drain Punch, and that's really annoying because I was really hoping he'd go into T-Tar. I guess he was going into Scyther to sort of sack it. And my problem here becomes he could just Defog or Roost on me, and I can't really do anything about it. But if he U-turns, then I'm too low to sort of sweep his team. Therefore, I really need to save this Mew. And I'm playing a lot more defensive than I probably want to be, but I feel like I'm in the back right now. So I go into my Pert, because I know it could take anything, as he does in fact go for the U-turn. And he goes into his Lop. I know I can live any hit, but then I completely forget that Fake Out's a move. And the Fake Out and the H-Shake, the Fake Out damage tells me that he's Jolly now. Whereas the Fake Out damage on the Pelican tells me it's Adamant. Granted, let me rephrase this. I was almost 100% sure it was Adamant based on the damage rolls. Mainly because of the Pelican. I calced the Pelican damage, and if I'm not mistaken, let me scroll up. This is super professional. There's the U-turn, Fake Out. Did 27.3, right? It said 27.3 on Showdown. I run the damage calc, and it says the max roll for a Jolly Lopunny can do to me, 100% max roll that a Jolly Lop can do, is 27.2. So I see 27.3. I'm like, alright, it's Adamant. I know I outspeed 100%. There's no reason he'd be Adamant unless it's just to creep the Torn. Therefore, it's the spread that I expected. I outspeed this with my Scarf Pelican. Now, that makes sense, right? The number is higher than what it said before. It is higher number than the calc. During the match, sure, that's completely understandable. The number is different. It's higher, therefore it's not the same spread that what I was expecting. But anybody with the brain can think, well, 27.3% compared to 27.2% is not even an HP of difference. It's literally the same number if you run the calcs on a no invested Megalop. So in theory, this could be just a max roll Jolly Fake Out, and the calc could just be retarded. Could be. Well, let me enlighten you. I lose the Pert, I go into my Pelican. I'm like, I outspeed this, and it's Jolly Lop. And what am I gonna do? Be completely wrong. That's what I'm gonna do. I go into my Keldeo, bluffing that I'm Scarfed, and it works because he sacks the Scyther. And it makes me really wish I was sub Calm Mind or sub Taunt, because I could have subbed there, and I pretty much have a good shot at this game, because the Reuniclus loses to my Mew. He would have to go in, if I was behind a sub, he would have to go into either Reuniclus or Lopunny or Mimikyu to sort of break it. And under Rain, that's really, he can't. I would just 2-hit KO whatever it wants to do what it wants to do. And that's whatever. So I could have been behind a sub if I went with my original set. He goes into the Mimikyu and I don't get the burn, and this part really hurts because the play rough doesn't kill me, thankfully, but I know the sneak is coming, and he's not Life Orb, which reveals to me that he is Z-move. I go into my Torn, and I Hurricane, and this guarantee kills no investment Mimikyu, and I'm expecting no investment Mimikyu because of the damage it did to my Keldeo. It was max attack, or close to max attack, I believe. So, or at least max attack in terms of Jolly. Whatever. It did Jolly damage, I think. So, I Hurricane, expecting this to die, because it should have died. But, in fact, Mono decided to not speed creep my Houndoom. So, Mono brought 4 Mons that just automatically lose to my Houndoom, plus, and then a T-Tar and a Megalop. The Megalop I could check with whatever. T-Tar is, it depends. Like, I could be Reversal Houndoom if I really want to. But if he's Scarf Tar or Chopple Tar, then ta-da, who cares? He would check it. So his only answer to Houndoom was T-Tar and Megalop, and that really bothered me. I was super salty because I didn't bring it, purely because I figured, alright, the Mimikyu is going to outspeed, the T-Tar is going to check it, sort of, Lop's going to check it, sort of, and the Toxapex is going to pretty much wall it, unless I get a Dark Pulse flinch on it. So, Mono decides to not prep for a Houndoom, one of what I felt was a bigger threat, a huge threat to his team, and it ends up working out for him because the Hurricane rolls on the mid to low side. I think I needed a mid to high roll to kill this, or I needed a high roll to kill this for sure. So it was in his favor to live. I do confuse him, but the Lumberry snaps him out, and he just Shadow Claws and kills me with the following sneak. I do get a Tailwind up because yeah, just a sacrificial Tailwind. He sneaks as I Zen, and in hindsight is 2020, boys and girls. I should have SD'd here because, well, first of all, I didn't SD because I was like, I want to see what kind of Reuniclus this is. If this was offensive, 3 attacks with Life Orb Trick Room, then this Leech Life would do 1,000,000. His team makeup and the fact that he didn't creep with Mimikyu leads me to believe that this might be Cobra Berry with like Psychic and Focus Blast to sort of hit Klefki, hit everything, and then Klefki and Houndoom are hit with a Focus Blast or HP Fighting or whatever the fuck, or HP Ground, and then this could be Calm Mind Recover. So he goes for a Shadow Ball, and that leads me to believe that he, well, one, he gets a Spadef drop. Like, one, Shadow Ball means this Reuniclus set, as he reveals after the match, it cannot touch a Houndoom. It is Psychic, Shadow Ball, Calm Mind, Recover. So he really didn't prep for Houndoom, and it really upset me at the time of the game. But in addition to that, the Spadef drop on this Mew means that I can't live a second Shadow Ball and reduce the differential. Because, yeah, that's really annoying. Because now I died to the Shadow Ball instead of taking the 40, and he wins 3-0 instead of 2-0, and it's all wonderful and fun and fantastic. Simply fantastic. So, we are 2-7, minus 13. We're pretty much guaranteed in the bottom 3 spots, I believe, unless something goes horribly wrong for Razor and Shoddy, and Aster, which is kind of impossible considering Razor and Aster play in the last week. But, yeah, we are going to fight our way out of the bottom 2 spots for sure, because I don't want to take up a relegation slot, and me winning still affects other people's placements in our group because our group is a giant mess. But yeah, that is our game against Monotui. Shoutouts to him not prepping for Houndoom while I took a Houndoom off of my original squad was very good. And him not bringing Toxapex when I was super afraid of a Toxapex, and that's why half my team was set up how it was also very good. And it leads me to believe that my last two, maybe 3 games, I got a lot of help when prepping, and I don't want to get help anymore. It keeps backfiring on me, and it's not fun. So I will catch you guys next week. This is actually a really long video, so I also apologize for that front. But I will catch you guys next time. Peace.